Good morning, fellow orchid lovers. It's Danielle here with a video on my current Miltonia / Miltoniopsis collection and also some new orchids that I purchased. So one of my subscribers asked me recently about growing Miltonia / Miltoniopsis in water culture. And I have to say that I have had some trouble with that particular type of plant. I have found that usually any type of Miltonia or Miltoniopsis that I purchase, it seems no matter where I purchase it from, they have been exposed to some type of fungus. I believe it's Fusarium. Some of them have shown the purple ring. Other ones have just exhibited similar symptoms that Fusarium does generate. So I now at this point, anytime I get an orchid of this particular type, even my Oncidiums, anything that grows in a similar pattern, I find is very prone to Fusarium. And so I just am off the bat treating them for Fusarium as soon as I get them, regardless. But these orchids, unfortunately, at the time, I did not realize that. And so I only have pieces of my Miltonia and my Miltoniopsis left. And I don't even know which one's which. Well, two of them I know what they are, but the other two I don't even remember because I had to cut away most of the adult plant because it was so badly infected, and save some new growths, and hopefully in a couple of years they'll be mature enough to go back to blooming. But basically this is just to show you how I grow them in water culture, because Miltonias and Miltoniopsis are cool, quote unquote, cool growers, and also they don't like to dry out, but they are also very prone to rot. So you have to be very careful about how much water you give them, because if they get too dry, they're unhappy and can go into a downward spiral. And if you overwater them, they can rot. So it's a delicate balance. So I'll show you what I do that has proven to be successful so far. So this is one of the ones that I do know what it is, but I do not know how to pronounce. It's Miltonia specta something or other. Spectabile. I watched someone's video and they said it so naturally and so wonderfully, and for some reason it's one of those, I just can't get it. So this was a really big plant. Actually, it was 2 plants in the pot. It had almost no roots when I got it, and I was wondering why. I just thought maybe it was, this is a species, so I thought maybe it was just, something to do with it being a species. Nope, turned out it had Fusarium. So I treated it for Fusarium. This is the only piece that I have left of the huge plant that I got. But as you can see, there's a lot of new root growth, so that's really good. And she's putting out a new growth here, so that's really good. She's not doing swimmingly. I'm not going to lie to you. She is still struggling, but there's progress in the right direction. So the way that I grow her is I have these glass beads, and I have, her stem resting on one, and then I'll just put the water level like right there so that the tips of her roots can always be resting in water, but her rhizome is not getting too damp. And that seems to be working for her. She's a little difficult because of her growth pattern to keep steady in the glass, so I just use this clip with a little twist tie loosely around one of her pseudobulbs to keep her stationary so she doesn't flop around. So that's the way that I'm growing her, and she did grow this new growth in my care. So, as you can see, the leaves are slightly accordion, and, she didn't have roots for quite some time, so I'm not really surprised by that. It's okay. This also was a growth that she grew in my care. So, she is growing on. She's not, like, out of the woods, I don't think, but she is giving her best effort, so I'm pretty happy with that. So that's her. This one I don't remember which one this is. I lost the tag on a lot of these, and like I said, I pulled them apart so extensively that I don't remember which section belonged to which plant, so I probably won't know what plant this is until it blooms, which, I mean, you can see how tiny this thing is. It's a couple years off from, you know, bouncing back and blooming. But as you can see, again, I have the glass beads. I have the water level nice and low. So, well, actually, she drank a lot of this water. So she probably will need in a day or so for me to just bring the level back up again. But as you can see, her roots are still saturated. So she doesn't need water at this point. When these roots start to dry off, you'll see that they get like paler, and then I can put the water up again. So these orchids actually, they sit in my kitchen window. That window gets northern light and stays very cool during the day. They get just a touch of sunlight as the sun is going down, but for the most part, they're in shade, you know, they're in shade. And they're doing really well there. But they are right in the windowsill, so they do get a lot of bright light, just no direct sunlight. And again, that side of my house is in the shade all day, so it stays nice and cool. So it doesn't get too hot for them because they don't like the heat. This window, on the other hand, gets extremely hot in the morning. You can see it's in the 70s, mid 70s. So they would not like that window. So that's her. She is growing a new growth, as you can see. So, and it's you know, it's pretty decent sized. It looks like the pseudobulb's going to be bigger than the previous, so she's going in the right direction. The only other thing I wanted to mention about growing these in the glass vases is if you clean the vase, make sure that you dry the inside, because the water droplets on the inside will hurt the leaves. I learned that lesson with this one. So when this one was a new growth, I didn't realize that, and I was cleaning out the vase and the beads, but then there were little droplets of water on the inside, and they did this damage to her. So, you know, just a little FYI about that. So this one I do have the tag for. It's a little faded. I've had her for a little bit now. But again, she was another one that had fusarium, and I did treat. So as you can see, this is typically where I start off with the water. It is very low. So, you know, her roots are pretty much all in the air, and just the bottom is exposed to the water. But as you can see, the roots are still saturated. So you don't need to have incredibly high levels of water to saturate the roots. You know, just putting the very tips of the bottom of the roots in the water is sufficient. And then that makes sure that the base of the plant, the pseudobulbs, are not going to rot. They're not going to get too saturated. So on this one, I was able to save one of her tiny new growths. Most of the plant was infected, so when I got to this one, this rhizome did not have the purple ring, so I kept this portion of it. And as you can see, this is a pretty decent new growth that she put out. This is something she grew in my care. Like I said, you know, that was from the water droplets, so that's damage that I did. But she's putting out some new roots. Again, I don't think that she's going to bloom anytime soon. I think she needs to, you know, get bigger and strengthen herself. And that's actually what I want her to do. I don't want her to bloom until she has a few more pseudobulbs. So she's doing, you know, what I would kind of force her to do. So I know that I've said in past videos that I don't cut flower spikes off of plants that are struggling. But that's a plant that starts to struggle after the flower spike is already apparent. So in this case, if she started to put out a flower spike on this new growth, that would take up way too much of her energy that's stored in her pseudobulbs, because she's really such a small plant. She needs to focus on producing, you know, more growths. And so in this case, if she did decide to put out a flower spike, I probably would just cut it off so that she can just keep growing and get stronger before she blooms. Because then that will ensure the health of the plant. And, you know, again, I might have to wait a couple years until she's strong enough to bloom, in my mind. But, you know, at least then she'll be healthy enough to then live for who knows how long. Whereas if I let her bloom now, that might be it. And then I have to buy a new one. So I don't really want to do that. This is another one. Again, I don't have the tag. I have no idea what the name of this one is. But look at these beautiful new roots that she grew in my care. So her old root system is all that brown gnarly stuff. And these are the roots that she has grown recently. She's grown 2 new growths. So this was the bulb that I saved. And I saved it just as a, we'll see what this does. And she put out this new growth, which, you know, is smaller than the original bulb. But now she's putting out another new growth, which seems very healthy. So, yeah, I don't really have a problem hydrating her. She's got some really good roots. So, that's my Miltonia, Miltoniopsis, growing in water culture currently. I did purchase a new one, and I'll show that to you. Sorry, I'll move nice and slow. There's my Doberman again. Can you tell she likes that spot? She's always in that spot. Not really sure why. I think there's a good like cross breeze between the windows, and she's near me, so she likes that. So these are the new orchids that I bought. So I told myself that I deserve them. I've been going through a lot of health issues lately, and I had a minor surgical procedure yesterday. And so I said, well, to be able to look forward to something, I'm just going to buy myself some orchids. So instead of focusing on the surgery, I would focus on, yay, I'm getting new plants. So I went a little overboard. I bought from 2 different places. This, I bought 5 orchids from a place in Hawaii, Kalapana Tropicals. I bought from them before. And then the other place that I bought from is Hauserman Orchids, and those plants are going to be here in 2 days. So I'll show them to you when they do get here, but these are the ones that I got. They came just yesterday, actually. So I got home from my procedure and the box was here and I was so excited. But I haven't, as you can see, unpotted them yet because I've been kind of taking it easy today. This is actually the first time I'm on my feet. So I'm just going to show you really quickly what I got, what they look like. And so this way you can know what I've added to my collection. So this first one, this is the name I can't pronounce. So I have the Miltonia. And now I have a dendrobium, and I know it's such a simple word, and I just can't wrap my face around it. So you're all correcting me right now and saying the word like it's really easy, and I believe you, but for some reason, I can't. So anyways, that's what I got. So she has a pretty mature, nice, large bulb here in the back. But I looked and I looked and I looked, and it doesn't look like she's ever bloomed before, which I'm kind of surprised because it seems like she would be mature enough. But again, I buy and then I research, so I haven't really researched this one yet. But I do like the quality of the plant. She does seem to be pretty healthy. I mean, there's a few, you know, spots that I'm not thrilled with, and it does look like she's been extensively sprayed with some type of pesticide, you know, so I'll clean her up and I'll get her unpotted and all that kind of stuff. But she does have a new growth coming out here, so that's really good. I believe that this one can bloom twice a year. I believe it can bloom in the spring and also the fall, if I'm not mistaken. So she may bloom in the fall instead of the spring. So that might be why I don't have any blooms on her so far. But this cane looks pretty spectacular. So I might get blooms on her in the fall. I don't know. We'll have to see. But she does seem like a relatively healthy plant. So I'm pretty happy with her. And we'll continue to grow on that new growth. I do have actually a picture of her flowers, so let me show you guys that. So that's what her flower is going to look like, which some of you may already know, but I think that's so funky and cool that I had to get her. Now, I've heard that the scent on her is not that awesome, so we'll see. But I think the flowers are so cool. So I've had my eye on her for a while, And I finally just said, you know what, I'm going to get her. So I did. So the next one that I got is Dendrobium firewings. And again, a pretty big plant. She only has one bloom, and it looks like it's her first time blooming. Really pretty though. Like, just gorgeous. And even the back of it is really pretty. It's got spots, which you know how I feel about spots. I mean, beautiful. So it's only one bloom, it's only one cane, and it seems, I looked around, it looks like it's her first time ever blooming. So again, I'm a little surprised with the size of the plant that this is the first time that she's bloomed, but I don't know enough about her really to feel strongly about that. So I probably shouldn't have said that. But she does have a new cane here that she recently grew. It looks like this is a relatively new cane. It looks like this is a relatively new cane. So, you know, there are further blooming possibilities. So she's a lot taller than I anticipated. She's pretty big. But I have the perfect spot for her, so I'm not really that concerned. And those blooms are gorgeous. I love, love, love them. So the next one that I got is this one right here. This is Volcano Midnight Volcano Queen. So the reason why I got this one is the blooms, and I'll show you. Again, this is another one that I've had my eye on for a while. I mean, look at that beautiful, I mean, you probably can't see it that well. It's a picture of a picture, and there's a lot of light coming. But look at that. I love that orange color with the yellow. I'm really excited to see her blooms. And it looks like I'm going to, because she came with a flower spike. So, I don't know how many blooms she's going to get, but it does seem like she's got quite a few on that spike. And I don't think that spike is quite done growing yet. It does seem that she blooms on mature growths. And I don't know if it was this one of them that I got. No, this does look like the first spike that she's ever gotten. But it's on a mature bulb. And she has a newer growth back here. So it might also bloom on this one, because this isn't mature yet. This is still a new growth. So it may also bloom on this. I'm not sure. So we'll see. But that's really exciting. The next one that I got is my Andrea West. This is attempt number 3. So the story with this one is that the first, I mean, look at that bloom. Can you blame me for trying to get this 3 times? A creamy, beautiful butter yellow, pink, red, orange, a deeper yellow. I mean, in person, this flower, you just want to sit and stare at it all day. It's gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. So the first plant that I got, I didn't even know what Fusarium was. So she died, and I didn't know why. I was just like, oh, okay, I can't grow Miltonias in my environment. That's what I thought. Well, apparently she had Fusarium. Knowing now what I know about Fusarium, she had classic signs, but I didn't know what it was or that it was even a thing at the time. So she died. Last spring, I bought another one. She was such a huge, beautiful, healthy plant. I did not have any suspicion that she could possibly be sick with Fusarium, and she went downhill so quick I couldn't save her. So that's a second plant that died. So this is my 3rd attempt to grow this plant. She will be treated for Fusarium whether she has it or not. I have decided at this point that all of my new orchids that I get are going to get treated, period, the end, done. Because I've lost too many plants, and I've struggled to save too many plants. So I'm not going to mess around. I'm just, from now on, treating for Fusarium, period. So I have a product, which I made a video about it. So if you are curious about treating Fusarium, what it is or what I use, you can certainly check that out. and I'm just going to use it, and I'm just going to treat her so that I don't run into any issues. So she is much smaller than the last. She's in between the first plant and the last plant as far as size is concerned. But she does have 2 spikes on 2 different pseudobulbs. So this pseudobulb has the more mature spike. So I'm going to get several flowers on her. And then this pseudobulb has the one that's just starting. And I checked this last night, and I swear to you that spike was down here. So she grew quite a bit in the evening, it seems like. I mean, she could be tricking me, or maybe my memory's not the best. Like I said, I did have a procedure yesterday, so maybe the anesthesia was still in my system when I checked her out. But I swear to you that that was down there. So it seems to be growing pretty fast. So again, I'm going to treat her. I'm going to take her out of the pot, treat her, and then we'll see what happens with the spikes. If I lose the spikes because, you know, I put her through too much, then that's, I have to just take that chance. I really, really, really want to keep this plant in my collection, and this is, like I said, my 3rd attempt. So to me, it's more important to get her out of the pot and treated than it is to have her bloom, because the blooms will be back. But if I don't treat her right away, she may not be. So that's the route we're going to go. I don't know why my cats are crying. Oh, they're grooming each other. And I have one final, let's see, one final plant to show you. Sorry. That's this one. So this is the last one that I got. You know, if you have followed me, how much I love spots and polka dots. So you understand why I purchased this one. I think she is just gorgeous. So this is the tag. And the plant is, it has bloomed before. This growth has old spikes in the bracts. So you can see that she's bloomed once before. This is the pseudobulb that is currently blooming. It's a huge pseudobulb. So she's got a lot of reserve. She's a very healthy plant, it seems. And she has 2 spikes. So this one looks like it's going to open soon. It's got a lot of coloration on the buds. So I'm pretty sure she's going to start popping open anytime now. And then this one is to follow. It's not quite, I mean, it does have some coloration, but as you can see, the little buds are a little bit farther behind. They're smaller and they have a lot more green on them. So, you know, that's going to be a little bit farther behind, but that's fine. That means that I'll have blooms for longer. So that spike will bloom first and then that spike will bloom. So it'll kind of extend the blooms a little bit. So that is my collection, my new plants. So I'm really excited about adding these to my collection, and when I get the next package on Saturday, I will try to make another video. I might not be able to make another video until Monday or Tuesday because I have a lot going on this weekend, but I will certainly introduce you to those plants as well. If you have any questions about any of these plants, or if you have questions about the Miltoniopsis or Miltonias that I showed you and how I grow them, certainly let me know. If you have questions about fusarium treatment, again, I do have a video about that. Or you can check out Miracle Orchids. Anna Maria, she is a wealth of knowledge about fusarium treatments, and she is your best resource if you do have a plant with fusarium and you have questions. So I hope you all are doing really well and that this video was not too long. And if it was, I apologize. But I hope you're all having a great day, and I will talk to you all next time.